Hi everyone. So welcome to our seventh Usapang Mercado. So I'm so happy that you guys are all here today. So maybe you guys are driving on the way home, listening, or maybe nasa bahay kayo. So yeah, so I just want to introduce who are the people with us today. So I'm excited to introduce na for our seventh Usapang Mercado, we are joined by no other than first our CEO here at Dragonfly, Sir John Carlin. So Sir John, say hi to our audience naman.
Hi everyone! Welcome again to the second episode of Usapang Mercado.
All right. So after Sir John, we are joined by our creator circle, so our beloved creator circle. So apat sila ngayon. So Sir Warren is on the way to our Zoom meeting, but I want to introduce first, obviously, isa sa pinaka magandang creator circle namin, veteran investor also, Tita Glo. So Tita Glo, say hi to our audience.
Hi! Hello. Hello sa mga subscribers ko.
Shout out pa.
Shout out.
Ayan. So, papatalo ka ba doon, Kuya John? So, I want to introduce to you guys Kuya John naman, of Kuya John Investing. So, Kuya John, say hi to our audience.
Hello po. Kamusta po kayong lahat?
Shout out naman tayo, Kuya John, sa ano natin, subscribers
Ay,
din natin. Gaya natin si Taglo.
kamusta po sa mga subscriber ko? Salamat po sa support po ninyo. Ayan, salamat dito kayo nag-tune in at hindi po sa People Power.
Ayan. All right. So after Kuya John, obviously we have Sir Renz as well of PSE Warriors. Sir
Hello
Renz,
guys.
yeah, hi naman tayo.
Hello guys. And maraming salamat guys no sa pag-tune in dito. And also kumusta ang buhay-buhay sa inyo? So
Oh, wait pala. Before we proceed, I'd like to say na we're missing si Mike of Investing PH today. Hopefully in the next episode makaka-join siya ulit.
Right.
Yep.
And maybe in a bit, Sir Warren is also going to join us. So he's on the way home already. So, pero we're going to start our event today because syempre we don't want to hold you guys for long, right? So, yep, start na tayo. So, next slide, please. Ayan. So, our agenda for today is basically, number one, we want to talk about ano ba yung mga nangyari this past year. So, actually, November na tayo, akalain yun ang bilis. So, just 1 month before Christmas. So, advance Merry Christmas to everyone, right? Pero akalain nyo yun. So, we're going to talk about what has happened in the market so far. And then after that, pag-uusapan natin yung bold predictions ng ating creator circle and si Sir John also. Ano ba yung tingin nila mangyayari when it comes to our market for next year? So, ano yung market outlook nila? And then last but not the least, we'll also cover our investors mailbag, which I'll introduce to you guys later on. So stay tuned. And then Q&A at the end. So if you guys have questions, please feel free to type it up sa ating chat box, okay? So next slide, please. Ayan. So first is the market recap. So what has happened in this past year? So I want to invite our very own Sir John. So Sir John, ano ba tingin natin what has happened this past year?
Okay. Thanks again, guys. Alam mo, we wanted to make sana Usapang Mercado to be live and on-site, but we weren't able to book the venue. So we're pushing that back to January. Hope to see you guys there. Before anything else, I'd like to thank again yung mga esteemed guests namin. Si Kuya John, PSE Warriors, Moneywise Engineer, and si Warren for being with us today. So the market this year, kakahilo. It's been a roller coaster ride. So the PSE, I shot out of the gate at the start of the year and was up immediately 7% by the end of the first quarter on hopes that inflation was under control and rate cuts were in the horizon. However, sticky inflation numbers by the second quarter dashed those hopes, with the index declining to as low as 6,158 by June 21st, down 4.5% for that year. Then, with inflation again trending in the right direction, and with the BSP and the US Fed cutting rates, the PSE rocketed higher to as high as 7,604, up around 17.9%. But again, now after after post-US election, the PSE already gave back most of those gains. And year to date, we're only up around 5.5%. Some notable highlights were Plus was one of the hottest liquid stocks. Kasi obviously there were stocks that went higher, but as far as liquidity goes, siya yung one of the hottest stocks of 2024. As of November 26, it has year to date gains of 155.6%. Inflation again, disinflation is again headed in the right direction. Headline inflation as of October was down to 2.3%, within the BSP range of 2 to 4%. Thus, the BSP rate cutting cycle commenced in August of 2024, and the BSP has cut 50 basis points so far to 6%. The US Fed has actually cut 75 basis points to date. BSP also reduced the reserve requirement from 9.5% to 7%, with the hopes of the RRR going to zero in the next few years. This is significant because every 1% cut in the RRR introduces around 130 billion worth of liquidity into the system. US elections, Donald Trump was elected 47th president of the United States, and his trade policies, his trade and actually economic policies is weighing on the Philippines. We'll dive into that more a little bit later.
All right. So thanks for that. Thanks for those insights, Sir John. So actually, out of all of what has happened this year, yung US elections has pretty much affected the market, right? Kasi actually ako personally, for my personal portfolio in the PSE, sabi ko I was up already 20% for this year, tapos recently naging down to like 12% na lang. But it happens because market isn't easy. So moving
Yes.
forward to our next segment. So our next segment is let's talk about the bold predictions of our creator circle and Sir John. Because what I want you guys to listen to is kung ano ba yung thought process nila behind or a veteran's thought process para matuto tayo about the stock market, right? So next slide. So I want to introduce first our first creator circle who's going to share her insights on what's going to happen or her market outlook for this year. So everyone, please welcome a money-wise engineer or si Tita Glo. So Tita Glo, take it away.
Yeah, hello. Ayan. Okay, so yung prediction ko kasi no one can actually predict the stock market with certainty kasi wala naman talagang nakakaalam kung ano ang mangyayari in the future. But if I were to make a bold prediction, optimistic ako eh. I would say that 2025 could be a promising year for the Philippine stock market. And yun nga, we've experienced frustrating bull run traps over the past 3 years. And every time mahit natin yung resistance level na 7,600, palaging nauuntog. And then pababa ulit, pabalik sa support level, and then back to consolidation phase ulit tayo. Pero I'm hopeful na sa year 2025, makaka-experience na rin tayo ng genuine breakout and an upward trend. Pero most likely hindi early this year kasi ang daming nangyayari, ang daming kaguluhang nangyayari. Andyan pa yung after effect ng Donald Trump victory. So yung most likely siguro mga around third quarter or end 2025. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, pero optimistic ako. Okay, so next slide please. Ayan, okay. So sa kabilang banda naman, yung US stock market.
800.
Hello, okay. Hello?
Nagpadala lang ng ano.
Ayan, okay. Ayan, so sa kabilang banda naman, yung US stock market managed to recover immediately after the pandemic. And yun nga ngayon, sobrang taas na and sobrang overvalued na. Pero ang Philippine stock market, so back to sideways ulit tayo. So nasa consolidation phase ulit tayo. And I know maraming mga nawawalan na ng pag-asa sa Philippine stock market, mga nadi-discourage na. So ang masasabi ko lang, this may seem discouraging, pero let's look at it at the bright side. Kasi pag dividend investor ka, just like me, panalo tayo pag ganitong merong market downturns at sideways ang movement. Kasi ito yung magandang time, magandang opportunity para makapag-accumulate tayo ng mga favorite nating dividend stocks with good fundamentals and meron ding attractive valuation. And pwede rin tayong makahanap ng mga iba pang opportunities like mga good companies. So marami tayong opportunities. So I think mahaba-haba pa rin itong consolidation phase na ito. So yun, ihanda nyo lang ang buying power nyo. At syempre kailangan ng patience. So this is the best time to accumulate dividend paying stocks. Kasi we will be rewarded with consistent dividends while waiting for the market to recover. And sabi nga ni Charlie Munger, 'di ba, meron siyang sinabi na the big money is not in the buying and selling but in the waiting. Okay, so next slide. Ayan. So, I see 2025 as a promising year ahead, driven by the following factors. So, yung unang-una yung sa economic recovery. So, yung Philippine economy is projected to continue its recovery. So, from the pandemic, kasi yung GDP is expected to grow between 6 to 7% in 2025. Though still below the pre-pandemic levels. And another thing is bumaba na rin yung inflation, and inflation is expected to remain under control. And then yung si BSP naman nag-start na rin ng interest cuts. So which will also benefit the economy kasi yung lower interest rates will encourage increased consumer spending, increased consumer borrowing. So which is actually good for our economy. And then syempre nandyan pa yung mga strong company earnings. If the great companies will continue to deliver strong earnings, this will also drive growth sa Philippine stock market. Okay, so next slide please. Ayan. So, ito naman yung mga bold predictions ko for the top performing sectors or industries in 2025. Siyempre, yung banking industry, so nagka-momentum ng 2024 and 2025, siyempre, tuloy-tuloy pa rin yan. Kasi nakatulong. So, sila yung nag-benefit sa ginawang interest cuts na ginawa ng BSP kasi this will lead to strong loan growth, so improving yung profitability ng mga banks. And then, syempre pangalawa yung sa industrial and energy, syempre growing yung renewable energy projects. Tapos supported din ito ng ating governments. And yung sa consumer and retail naman, since strong yung consumer confidence and bumaba yung inflation, so this also encourages yung increased consumer spending. Kaya magbe-benefit din ang consumer and retail sector. And syempre, nandyan yung property, specifically REITs. Kasi favorite ko ang REITs. Kaya bias ako sa REITs. So yung nga yung economic rebound, yung improving economy. So this will also increase yung leasing demand and also mag-grow din yung dividends para mag-benefit yung mga REITs investors. Okay, so next slide. Ayan. So, pero syempre, marami pa ring risk na need nating i-consider. Kasi yung mga risk na ito, part siya talaga ng pag-invest sa stock market. So, syempre, una-una, nandyan yung global recession risk. Although, syempre, wag naman sana, pero malaking impact nito sa ating market pag nagkaroon ng global recession risk. Kasi this could slow down yung economic growth kasi bababa yung mga export demand for Philippine goods and services. And then, syempre, nandyan pa rin yung mga geopolitical risk. Example yan, yung US economic policies ni Donald Trump, which could influence yung mga global trade and investment na pwedeng maka-affect ng Philippine economy. And syempre lastly yan, yung kasalukuyang nangyayari ngayon, political instability, na malaki rin yung impact sa ating market and may mga syempre mga natural disasters that are beyond our control which could also slow down yung economic growth. But maski may mga risk na ito, wag kayong matakot mag-invest. As long as you invest in good companies with strong fundamentals, meron kang margin of safety na nilagay. So you will be okay kasi you will be rewarded with dividends while waiting for the market to recover. Yan. So that's all. That's about it.
Alright, so starting off as a bull. So, I love that, Tita Glo. Kailangan ko yung words of encouragement mo eh. So, alright, so thank you for your insights, Tita Glo. So now, next, I want to call on PSE Warrior. So, Sir Renz, what are our
Yes.
thoughts about our market outlook for next year?
Yes. Dito naman sa akin, no, yun nga, katulad nga ng sinabi din ni Tita Glo, no one can predict the stock market, no. So, kahit nga sa atin, sa buhay din natin, hindi natin alam kung ano yung mangyayari sa atin in the next coming months, the next coming year, di ba? So, and the best way para magawa natin ito is tignan natin yung history. Kung titignan natin yung history ng PSEI over the long run, ay continuous na nag-increase ang ating market. Sa pamamagitan din nito, nakakatulong din sa pag-increase ng ating market ay syempre yung mga young workforce dito sa ating bansa ay sobrang dami. Nakakapag-increase din ito sa atin. And also, yung pagdami ng paglist sa ating bansa ng mga stocks, ng mga company dito sa ating bansa ay very, very important din yon. Now, para sa akin, ang pag-invest dito sa ating bansa ay ihahalin tulad ko ito, no? Lagi ko itong sinasabi na para itong pagtatanim ng palay. Alam mo kung ano pinakamahirap? Hindi yung sowing, hindi rin yung reaping, but the season of waiting. Kung alam mo itong analogy lamang, talagang malaki na yung magigain mo, not only sa yung investment but also in your emotions. Emotions, knowledge, very, very important yan. And sa next slide ay papatunayan din natin yan. No? So as we step sa taong 2025, so para sa akin, yun nga, katulad nga sa sinabi ni Tita Glo na ang ating merkado ay talagang volatile today, pero you have to understand na not every cheap stock is worth of your hard-earned money. So napaka-importante ang gagawin natin, dapat alam muna natin kung ano yung intrinsic value ng kumpanya na paglalagakan natin. So lahat kami dito nagdi-discuss niyan kung paano kunin yung mga intrinsic value ng kumpanya para magkaroon ka ng matibay na pundasyon at matibay na konklusyon sa pag-invest mo sa ating merkado. And kapag meron ka ng intrinsic value, napaka-importante ng margin of safety doon sa intrinsic value mo. Bakit? Kasi kapag nagkaroon ka ng misjudgment doon sa isang kumpanya or nagkaroon nga ng market volatility, meron tayong buffer doon sa ating investment na pinaglalagakan. And also, yun nga, patience is very, very important. Next slide. Ayun nga. Dito lamang no as a value investor, napaka-importante pa rin sa akin as a value investor. Ito, ang pag-invest sa ating merkado ay importante pa rin na ang investing ngayong 2025 ay talagang makakapag-ani ng reward ngayon, especially na talaga nagsisibagsakan ng ating market, di ba? So, ang lagi na natin tatandaan, we have to find a company na talagang solid. Lagi natin naiintindihan yung kumpanya. And kapag nagkakaroon ng volatility, and alam mo naman solid yung kumpanya na pinaglalagakan mo, invest. You have to invest. And also, no, yung value investing kasi, kapag nagkakaroon ng market volatility during, sa example ko, during na nag-invest ako sa PSEI, no, and also nung 2020, the best example na, and nagkaroon ng recovery, kung naka-invest ka noong 2020, and I think yung mga investment mo ngayon, kung nakuha mo ito ng 2020, talagang nagigains niya ng significance sa yung portfolio. So, yun yung gusto ko ibahagi sa inyo na kapag nagkakaroon ng volatility, doon ka pumasok. Huwag ka masyadong kabahan kasi parte yan ng cycle ng ating ekonomiya. And yun nga, timeless principle na lagi kong ibabahagi ulit at uulitin ko ulit, ang pag-invest sa ating merkado ay part ng pagtatanim ng palay. Pinakamahirap, hindi yung sowing at hindi yung reaping, but the season of waiting. Next. So, para sa akin naman, no, ako naman, para makahanap ako ng mga stocks na pwede kong paglagakan ng mabilisan, naghahanap ako ng sektor na bugbog. Pero, yung upside potential ng sektor na yun ay sobrang gaan pa rin. Sobrang taas pa rin. So, naghanap ako dito sa sektor na yun ng quality stocks. Yung pinaka-the best na stocks, yun yung kukunin ko. And, pag naging okay na yung sector, for sure, matik, ang stock na yon ay continuous na mag-up and mag-aani ka ng reward doon sa mga pinaglalagakan mo. So, for me, 2025, ngayong 2025 na paparating para sa akin ay very, very optimistic ako. And in the next coming 5 to 10 years from now, I'm very, very optimistic sa ating merkado.
Alright. So thank you for your insights, Sir Renz. So actually I agree, no? Isa sa mga pinakamahirap talaga gawin is yung patiently waiting for your investments eh. Minsan kasi parang kinakatina yung kamay mo na to do another trade, dapat feel mo kailangan may homework kang gawin just to earn more money. Pero sometimes the best thing we have to do is sit out on our investments, right?
Actually, pinag-uusapan namin to ni Kuya John earlier. Remember, Kuya John, yan yung sinasabi ko rin. Imperfect talaga yung sinasabi ni Renz. Alam mo, kailangan talaga paulit-ulit mo pag-isipan yung sinabi ni Renz about the season of waiting. If you look at the best investors of all time, you look at Warren Buffett, Peter Lynch, tapos yung nakwento ko kanina kay Kuya John, si Jesse Livermore, palagi yung sinasabi, the money is made in the sitting. It's not the buying and selling. Hindi kayong nangangatika palagi. It's always in the sitting. So, sobra ako nag-agree doon.
I wish to add, yung sinabi rin ni Charlie Munger, Sir John, yung
Oo.
term niya na assiduity. And tinanong siya, ano yung assiduity? You sit on your ass and do nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Sobrang tama yun. Alright.
Ayun. So, alright. So after Sir Renz, I want to introduce our next creator circle to share his prediction naman next year. So, guys, please welcome Kuya John Investing. So, Kuya John, please take it away. Ano tingin natin for next year?
Ayan, hello po. So kung mapapansin po ninyo, yung magiging theme talaga naming mga creators is medyo similar talaga kasi pare-parehas kaming value investors, di ba? So yeah, we are all on the same page na wala talaga makakapag-predict ng market. Just look at the number one thing that moves market, interest rates, di ba? That's the number one thing that moves market. But sabi nga ng mga magagaling na investor, not even the Feds, not even the BSP, they don't know, hindi nila alam kung ano yung magiging gagawin nila in the next coming months or years. They don't know. They just react to what will happen. No? So no one knows what will happen. Pero kung pipilitin ako mag-predict, pipilitin talaga ako mag-predict, no? I am more on sideways and or bearish for 2025. So medyo opposite ako ng view nila Renz and nila Tita Glo. Yeah, para ano lang, para masaya lang. May ibang perspective, no? So, ang isa sa reason ko is yung pagkapanalo ni Trump. Kasi si Trump, he really prioritize American interest and he's very very anti-China. So that's one. And I feel personally si PSE on its own, feeling ko wala siyang legs on its own. PSE hindi tumatayo ang PSE on its own kasi you're like a micro cap stock sa isang malaking universe. So mahirap talaga tayong mapansin. And one of the reason para talagang umangat lang ang PSE, just my opinion I'm not sure if many of you will agree. Kailangan talaga yung masama tayo sa momentum ng kapitbahay natin, ng mga malalaking kapitbahay natin like China, Japan, and things like that. And for now, a lot of them are struggling. So hindi pa rin ako ganun ka bullish. And also since the global financial crisis noong 2008, marami talagang inintroduce na kasalanan ang mga central banks around the world. Is the reason na ang crypto ay they are doing well. Crypto, this is kasi isa sa mga nangyayari sa crypto is it's a stance against these central banks. Kasi maraming kasalanan na ginawa ang central banks. They have been very manipulative for the past 10-15 years. So doon medyo kinakabahan ako kung ano magiging effect nun in the future. And I'm very concerned na ang US is still overvalued. Sobrang overvalued ng US. And if magbe-burst ang bubble nila, hindi ko alam kung ano magiging impact na sa global market. But anyways, I feel na predicting what will happen is not something productive, and the best approach is to react on what is in front of us. And I feel dividend investing, katulad ng sinabi ni Tita Glo, dividend investing remains the best approach right now kasi it rewards us to wait. And also you have to remember na once na nag-recover ang market, ang unang-unang mga aakyat yung mga companies na ano talaga, na maganda ang fundamentals, may cash flows and everything. So yeah, so that's why kung hindi niyo napapansin, no, mga dividend stocks, marami sa kanila sila yung mga naunang umangat na. Although hindi pa umaangat ang index natin, nag-aangatan na yung mga dividend stocks actually. So yun. Next slide po, please. So, and then I just want to explain in details. Just consider the three-body problem, right? Sa physics ito, no? Planet thing. With two variables, it's solvable. But pag ginawa mo ng three variables, it's impossible to solve. Kaya nga nagkaroon ng Netflix na series. Dahil hindi nila ma-solve yung three bodies. And predicting the stock market is impossible. Kasi it's an ecosystem. It's a very complex ecosystem with a nearly infinite variables. So, ang hirap, no? Mahirap. So, don't invest by predicting where the stock market will go, no? I think it's more productive, katulad ng sinasabi nila Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, focus on individual businesses kasi mas fewer ang variables, no? So we should find stocks na magka-thrive regardless of economic condition. Next slide po, please. So yung gusto ko lang sabihin, no? So medyo marami akong nakakatakot na sinabi kanina, pero gusto ko lang sabihin in ecosystem, right? Pag meron catastrophes, no? Like sa nature, no? Or tsunami, may asteroid, ganyan, no? It's the larger creatures, no? Sila ang unang mamamatay. Like dinosaurs, no? Sila ang unang-unang nagiging extinct. Bakit? Kasi mabigat sila. Pangalawa, malakas silang kumain. No? Pangatlo, mahihina ang tuhod ng dinosaurs. I think may mga ano yan may mga study na because of their size, mahina ang tuhod ng mga dinosaurs. So, ano ibig sabihin ng dinosaur sa stock market? Ano ang analogy niya, no? Stocks na mabibigat, na heavy ang burden nila sa debt. Mahina ang tuhod, weak yung business nila, mababa ang ROIC, hindi talaga ganun ka-profitable ang business nila, no? Maraming debt, ano pa, capital intensive. So these are the stocks na iiwasan po natin kasi when bad things happen, ito talaga ang unang mga mamamatay. So may mga naipit po sa inyo sa mga ganitong klaseng company. So mahirap po talaga, no? So kaya masasabi ko, kung wala pa kayong mga ganito, iwasan yung mga ganitong companies that requires a lot of capital, ang lalaki ng debt, and then hindi mo nakikita yung strength ng business, hindi mo nakikita nag-grow talaga sila, and they're showing weakness, nag-shrink pa sila. So iiwasan natin yun. Ang dapat nating ifo-focus, no, sa ecosystem, no, sino yung survivor sa mga ecosystem. Kahit na may nuclear bomb, I will bet you my wallet, mga cockroaches, no, o yung mga ano ba yung cockroach sa Tagalog? EPs ang magsusurvive. So ang kailangan talaga nating hanapin sa stock market yung mga EPs, no? Ano ba ang EPs? Hindi nila kailangan ng maraming pagkain. They don't need a lot of capital kasi on their own they could generate cash flows, no, para i-expand ang business nila, no, at pagandahin ang business nila, no? Wala silang burdensome na debt, wala silang masyadong utang, no? And strong ang business model nila. Tingnan niyo po i-check po ninyo, no, since pandemic 2020, 2021, 2022, 23, 24, tingnan niyo po, no, kung sino yung mga stocks na talagang hindi tinamaan ng mga nangyari mga problema nitong nakaraan. Yun kasi may ano talaga sila, no, na talagang naturally strong sila at naturally talagang survivor yung mga yan. Dun tayo dapat nagfo-focus. So yun lang po ang gusto ko pong idagdag sa topic po na to. Thank you po, Sir Aaron.
Nako, bearish si Kuya John. So, hello guys, aawayin na ba natin to si Kuya John? Siya yung bearish dito eh. Alright. So, pero what I like about this is that we get different point of views talaga of our creator circle, our veteran investors. Hindi lahat puro bull, di ba? Magigets din natin paano sila mag-isip on their thought process talaga. So, thank you for your insights, Kuya John. So, next up, I would like to call last but not the least in our creator, second to the last creator circle. Pero we have one more after Sir Warren. So I want to introduce Sir Warren. Sir, sorry, I made a technical difficulty. So I want to introduce our very own CEO, Sir John. So Sir John, what are our thoughts on our market outlook for 2025?
Sure, sige. So, when I sent out yung my memo na the time to invest is now article, my assumption was we were headed for a normal rate easing cycle, which was going to be very bullish for stocks and risky assets in general. So when you look at this chart at that point in time, my expectation was overbought yung PSE at that point in time. But my expectation was for it to correct to around the 6,900 to 7,000 level before continuing its advance. But instead of doing that, this is what happened. Next slide, please. So as you can see, naging deep. As an investor, when the facts change, you have to change along with it. So in this case, the PSEI retraced over 61.8% of its advance that it made from its swing low of 6,158. So when that happens, normally it's not gonna be a snapback na mabilis. It's gonna consolidate. So talagang before the market needs to find its footing, kailangan it has to find a level of support that it will respect, tapos it will back and fill before ensuing the next trend. So without an unexpected catalyst, you can't just expect the market to snap back. So next slide, please. So in spite the Fed cutting 75 basis points, ito yung one of the major culprit kung bakit nahihirapan yung market natin right now. Even though the Fed started its rate cutting cycle, as a matter of fact, they're ahead of the BSP in terms of cutting rates. Nag-cut na sila 75 basis points. The US 10-year yield rose very quickly, rose very sharply over the past 2 months, driven by policy uncertainties of the incoming Trump administration. So weeks before the election, actually, the market was pricing in medyo coin toss between Harris and Trump, but the market was pricing in a high probability na it was going to be a divided government, na the lower house of Congress was going to go to the Democrats, while the Senate, the upper house, was going to go to the Republicans. If nangyari yon, that's what you call gridlock, meaning one party cannot impose its will on the other. So mangyayari parang business as usual, and that would have been actually more favorable to the PSEI and the Philippine market. But since nagkaroon ng Republican sweep, the Trump administration now has a lot more leverage to pass its aggressive trade and fiscal policies, which many believe will pressure the budget deficit and strengthen the US dollar. Next slide, please. So here, the higher bond yields, as you can see, is pressuring the peso, which would prevent the PSP from cutting rates. Actually, most of the major investment banks had penciled in around 150 basis points worth of cuts, meaning 1.5% sa BSP policy rates in 2025. But now they've trimmed that to only 1%. So 50 basis points na ang tinanggal nila from that. And that obviously affects yung stock price valuation. My base case for the peso is to consolidate in this area rather than depreciating further. But hindi natin malalaman, as what Tita Glo said, a lot of the Trump policies will become apparent lang by the summer in the US, which is June of 2025. So around the second to third quarter mo pa malalaman yun. So I feel because of that uncertainty, the peso will tread sideways. Next slide, please. On a more positive note, we all saw this going around on X, or formerly Twitter. Goldman Sachs actually placed the Philippines in the overweight category along with China, Indonesia, and Asia. Some of the notable highlights from that report include the Philippines being more immune to global trade uncertainty. Going back to my previous point, Goldman Sachs actually also picked the Philippine peso as the preferred currency within the ASEAN 5. The ASEAN 5 is comprised of Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, and the Philippines. Again, on account of the Philippines being a more domestically driven economy. So there are positives amidst the uncertainty. So it's a mixed bag. So let's see. I feel just like in 2016, when Trump first won, nagkaroon ng knee-jerk reaction eh. But when things stabilize, we will see the true move of the market. So that's it from my end. Aaron?
All right. So thank you for your wonderful insights, Sir John. So eto sure na ako. Next that's going to present is our last but not the least creator circle. So Sir Warren, ano ba yung tingin natin for 2025? What's our market outlook? All right. So, sorry, we're having technical difficulties lang.
Hello? Can you hear me? Well,
So actually let's talk around muna, no. So tingin nyo naman so far, let's make a recap. Okay. So actually si Tita Glo bull siya, 'di ba? And then si Sir Renz bull also, si Sir John
Mix.
Sir John
Bearish.
mix. And then si Kuya John yung medyo mas sideways to bear. So yes, so ako personally kasi Sir John, tingin ko parang even if nag-stall ngayon yung market natin, if you hold a beach ball underwater, sooner or enough, the deeper you hold it, parang mas malakas yung pag-akyat niya whenever it goes up. So I think, no, Sir John, it's a matter of time. Pero what do you guys think about it?
Ako nag-agree ako kila Tita Glo,
Ako
kila
naman,
Kuya
Ay,
John,
sorry,
and
sorry.
si Renz.
Mm.
I'm sorry, Renz. Go ahead. Ikaw
Yeah.
muna. Go ahead.
Sa akin naman kasi, as a value investor kasi, to be honest, hindi ko tinitingnan kung ano nangyayari sa market. Kung ano, basta nakafocus naman ako sa stocks ko. Wala akong pake kung ano nangyayari. Basta yung mga pinaglalagakan ko ay nakafocus ako kasi for sure in myself na yung pinaglagakan ko ay yung mga high quality stocks. And in the next coming 5 to 10 years from now, I know nalalago pa rin naman yan kasi yun nga, katulad na sinabi natin, over the long run, ating merkado tumataas naman talaga. Pero kung titingin ka lang ngayon, yung nangyayari sa atin today, yung emotions mo maapektuhan. Kaysa naman, mas maganda na lang tumingin ka sa long-term horizon kaysa magpakahirap ka today kung ano mangyayari sa the next coming year or kung ano man. So, para sa akin, mas maganda as a value investor, tumingin tayo doon sa quality stocks lamang. And for me, very, very effective ito kasi yun nga, may mga business din akong ginagalaw today. So nakaka-focus ako doon sa mga business ko nang hindi na aapektuhan yung mindset ko sa market because I'm a value investor.
yeah, ganda nung analogy mo na pagtatanim ng palay, no? Di ba?
Yeah.
So,
Ano yan,
nag-aantay
sir?
ka lang.
Literal,
Oo.
sir. Literal yun, sir. Literal, nagtatanim ako ng palay talaga.
Ganda nung analogy. Nagtatanim ka lang ng palay pero yung bunga, malaki ang bunga para sa iyo. No?
Yes.
Makes sense.
All right. So now we could proceed to the prediction, bold prediction of Sir Warren. Sir Warren, what's our market outlook for 2025?
Yeah. I'm sure these are also already mentioned, no? But definitely it will not be a runaway bull, but I think the general trend would be up, no? As opposed to siguro with Kuya Jan, nabutan ko si Kuya Jan, yung prediction niya is medyo bearish daw, no? So if you say bearish, baka down ang ano niya, general trend. But for me, I think the general trend would still be up. It would move sideways. Despite uncertainties in international policies, particularly, syempre, we all know Trump-led US. Trump-led US is very much focused on domestic US growth, which might negatively affect other regions in the globe, no, specifically Asia. However, our local companies, their economic fundamentals remain strong. So there are still a lot of undervalued companies hitting profit. So yung 9-month profit, I think last month or this month just came out. A lot of companies are still hitting their record profits, no, especially the banks. And I think that's a sign that the fundamentals of our companies are generally still strong. The interest rates and banks cuts are still on the table, so which means it's a positive for us for the local stock exchange. No? Next slide, please. So it will still be a stock pickers market. So learn how to adjust depending on the short-term trend, especially now. It dipped down, no? So we need to learn how to adjust. So I'm not betting big on any single or any particular stock, but I'm still betting big and creating majority of my portfolio on dividend yielding stocks. The general guideline to find a good dividend yielding stock is it should be higher than whatever the current BSP interest rate. Now it's 6%. Tama ba? 6%? I'm not
6, yeah.
no, 6%. Yeah, 6%. So if there's a rate cut going on in the next few months, then it will be 5.75 or 5.5. So anything higher than that is generally good. Next slide. So so just choose stocks that give consistent dividends. On a practical side, if you get the cash from the dividends, technically this reduces your cost, right? So you can even sell it at lower cost because if you sum it up, you already got the dividends. So that adds to your profit already. So continue to do your research and learn and adjust. Again, also do not believe in everything that you hear. There are a lot of noises, chismis, syempre, or a lot of hyping up stocks there. Syempre, to each his own, di ba? Syempre, some of the people will hype their own stock. So do not believe everything that you hear, but do your own research.
Sure.
Next, please.
All right. So thank you for those insights, Sir
thank you.
Warren. So now I want us, everyone, actually, before we move on, I want to remind everyone that if you guys have questions, feel free to drop it in sa ating chat box para we can answer it later on sa ating Q&A portion. All right. So moving on. So I want to introduce a new segment to you guys. And this segment is called Investors Mailbag, addressing your investment woes. So actually, you were inspired by different podcasts out there na alam niyo yung may letter sender tapos i-send nila dun sa, for example, sa Sky Podcast kay Slater Young and Chris Uy. And then they'll read it out loud and they'll try to address kung paano ba tingin nila pwede nilang tulungan yung tao and solve. And so we want to make this much more personal to you guys. We want to reach out to you guys para mas relational yung approach natin. And so we've collected different stories, concerns from you guys through Facebook. We reached out through Viber. Tapos pumili kami ng dalawa. So for today, we're going to address 2 stories and 2 concerns from our audience. So what's our first mailbag? Mailbag number 1. So allow me to read this to you guys kasi medyo malit yung text eh. So I have been following your show for quite some time. Gustong-gusto ko siya because not only am I entertained, but I get to learn a lot of new things also. So thank you, especially related to investing. Actually, I started investing just a few months ago. Tinatry ko gawin yung dividend harvest strategy. Okay naman siya. Wala pa ako masyadong kinikita since around 30,000 pesos pa lang yung nalagay ko. Alam ko that you guys teach na mas important na consistent mag-invest, pero nahihirapan ako. So far, once pa lang kasi ako nakapag-fund at nahihirapan ako sundan ito. Wala kasi talaga matira sa paycheck ko. Galing ako sa province, need ko mag-rent dito sa Manila for work. I make about 25,000 pesos. After paying the bills, halos wala nang matira from this amount. Plus, nagpapadala pa kasi ako ng konting pera back to my family sa province. Any advice on how I can squeeze in more investments? So from my understanding, this guy is living paycheck to paycheck, tapos nahihirapan siya na mag-add in consistently sa kanyang investment. So actually, alam ko si Sir Renz merong opinion and insights dito eh. So Sir Renz, take it away.
Yeah.
Ikaw na una.
Para sa akin, nakaka-relate ako dito kasi yun nga, I came from province din sa Northern Samar, no? And baka maiyak ako dito ah. Wait lang. Sasagot dito ay personal na lang din para magkaroon ka rin ng idea kung paano ko ginawa, no? Kung nasa man ako today. So, ako kasi dati ang ginawa ko, no? Nag-aaral ako sa school ng college, then ako ay nagsa-sideline ng mga kung ano binebenta sa online and binebenta ko ito. And yung mga kinikita ko ay nilalaga ko. Now the question is, yun nga, may dalawang option na pwede kong ibahagi sa'yo. Is una, ay kung meron ka pa pwedeng i-squeeze dyan sa 25,000 mo, kung meron pa, kunyari, pwede ka magbawas muna na, hindi ka muna bumili ng mga branded na damit, kumain sa mga mamahaling restaurant. Kung meron ka mai-squeeze, mas maganda na, sige, bawasan mo ng bawasan. Pero wag naman yung to the point na wala ka nang kakainin na. Pero yung kaya lang i-squeeze. Pangalawa, ito yung pinaka-best option na pwede kong ibigay sa'yo. Increase your cash flow. What do I mean? Sa panahon ngayon, huwag ka nang mahihiya. Sa panahon ngayon, alam ko, naiintindihan ko, based sa sinulat mo dito, parang ikaw ay panalong tinapay, breadwinner. Based sa nakikita ko dito, huwag kang mahihiya. Huwag kang mahihiya kung ano yung gusto mong gawin. Kung meron kang ibebenta, meron kang skills na gusto mong i-develop mo. Kasi one thing for sure na natutunan ko, kapag meron kang skills at ikaw yung pinaka-the best on what you do, people will come to you. No matter what happen, people will come to you. So kung meron kang skills today na gusto mong gawin, pagkatapos ng trabaho mo, i-develop mo lang yung skills mo. Over time, yung skills na yon and mas maganda ilabas mo ito sa platform like social media today, definitely, yung pera, papalo na lang yan. And for me, isa din sa mga natutunan ko din kasi to be honest, medyo maiyak tuloy ako dito. Nung pandemic days, itong PSC Warrior ay hindi ko talaga dapat ito gagawin kasi ako ay mahiyain, hindi ako marunong mag-English, and also bulol-bulol ako magsalita. Yun yung gawin ko. And also, nakakapag-share ako ng knowledge about investing sa mga audience ko lang, sa mga kaibigan ko lang. Pero one thing na natutunan ko, good thing, na yung kasama ko today, yung wife ko, siya nag-push sa akin na kung gusto mo makatulong sa ibang tao, do it online. Then kinabukasan, gumawa siya ng YouTube channel. Then nag-start na ako mag-create ng YouTube channel and mag-upload. Then everyday, nag-upload ako. Kung tignan mo yung unang upload ko sa YouTube channel ko, ang pangit ko magsalita, bulol-bulol, ang pangit pa ng editing ko. And through time, yung editing and pagsasalita ko kahit papano'y nag-i-improve. And through that, na-appreciate ng market. Na-appreciate ng market yung ginagawa ko. And today, kung ano may nare-reap ko na reward, nagpa-follow na lamang. Yung pera, nagpa-follow na lamang. Yun kasi yung kamalian today, no? Kapag mag-start ka ng halimbawa side hustle, ang unang iniisip ito, magkano ba yung gaganintin ko, makikitain ko. Pero today, kung yung puso mo, yung skills mo, i-develop mo, I will guarantee to you na makakalabas ka dyan sa paycheck to paycheck. And syempre, you have to, magtabi ka rin ng emergency fund. Bago mo gawin to, you have magtabi ka rin ng emergency fund. And for me, that's the best skills na natutunan ko na continue kung ano yung nakakapagpaligaya sa'yo. And the rest will follow na lamang.
Alright. So, thank you for that, Sir Renz, no? So, actually, Sir Renz, buti na lang napigilan mo yung pagluha mo kasi
Kaya
magpapalala
nga.
din sana ka ng tissue eh. So,
Wala pa
pero,
naman
pero
dito,
Sir
bira.
Renz, we are so proud of you, ah. We are so
Yeah.
proud of you.
Mm.
So, pero guys, anything else to add? So, baka
Ako-
meron tayong gustong i-add sa story ng ating first investor.
Yeah, I want to add something. So based from the letter, I could feel that this person is still very young, maybe in his 20s. So I want to add something different para to add value. Para hindi ko na ulitin yung mga sinabi ni Renz. So unang-una, you have to realize na mahaba ang laban. So, and the number one thing that you have to consider is to take care of your health. Please take care of your health kasi mas napapahaba mo ang buhay mo, mas marami ang time na ikaw ay makakapag-invest, makakapag-ipon, at you could accumulate wealth, no? And you will be able to enjoy your wealth. And number two, increase your skills, no? Damihan mo yung skills mo. Katulad ng sinabi ni Sir Renz, try to learn as much as possible kasi you will be able to create opportunities for yourself. And also, you also have to try to network, no? Ako, personally, sobrang hindi lang halata, pero mahiyain ako sobra. Hindi lang halata pero sobrang mahiyain ako and yeah, like now I'm really having fun na nakilala ko sila rin, sila Tita Glo, John, sila Sir John. So it's never too late. So do everything you can and also invest in yourself. Try to learn, read books. Use social media wisely by consuming content that will add value to you. You will add knowledge and skills to yourself. And all of this will compound, no? Kung hindi ka pa makakapag-compound ng pera ngayon, dito ka muna mag-compound dito,
Yeah.
tsaka sa health mo, no? So, yun po yung gusto ko
Yes.
pong i-add. Thank you po.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ako meron ding ma-add kasi nabanggit ni Renz kanina yung mag-add ng cash flow. So suggestion ko lang, kasi kung halimbawa meron kang free time like sa gabi or weekends, pwede kang mag-apply as an online English, ano ba yun? Yung ESL, yung magtuturo ng English as a second language. Kasi ginawa ko yun nung pandemic, kasi di ba nung pandemic hindi ako makalabas ng bahay. So, nag-apply ako as an ESL teacher kasi wala pa ako YouTube channel noon. So, hindi pa ako gumagawa ng content. So, nagtuturo ako ng English as a second language. Kasi pwede mo siyang gawin anytime. Pwede sa gabi, pwede sa weekend. Basta may extra ka na time. So, pang-add siya ng cash flow mo. Kasi yung, halimbawa, makasweldo ka doon ng mga 2,000, 3,000, pwede mo siyang ipasok sa MP2. Kung wala ka pang time na mag-aral about stock market, so MP2
Right.
yung safe na investment. Gawin mo siyang salary deduction. Maski yung 500 lang na minimum para hindi mo na mamalayan na nakaka-save ka ng 500 through salary deduction. So, yun lang yung ma-add ko.
Warren, anything?
Lahat
Ako meron
lahat
ako eh.
nagsas-
Warren, go ahead.
Yeah. I think lahat start small, no? So don't be discouraged na 25,000, 30,000, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I think what matters is the act and yung consistent activity of doing it, no? But one thing that I want to give advice is don't take loans just to invest.
Oh, yeah.
Marami akong kilala na they're taking loans or nangungutang sa iba at confident sila papasok din sa investment kasi mas malaki daw kikitain. No, there's nothing sure in the stock market, no. So don't fall for that trap na you take loans outside and then put it in your investment.
Agree.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, ang gaganda ng mga advice eh. Like, yung mga narinig ko from all four of you guys. So, yung nag-strike talaga sa akin yung sinabi ni Renze. Kasi yan rin palagi ko ina-advise sa mga young kids today. I always tell them na yung scarcity value nga. Yung maganda yung sinabi ni Renze, it's not just the value na related to investing, is yung parang pinapalawak mo yung skill sets mo and ma-appreciate yun ng market eh. Like what Ren said. Yan yung palagi kasi sinasabi sa young kids in their 20s to 30s. Palagi wag niyo isipin about making a lot of money. At that point in time, kailangan nag-accumulate ka talaga ng knowledge. Like exactly sinabi ni Kuya John, you're compounding what's up here, not what's in your wallet. Sobrang perfect eh. And okay, so sinabi ni Tita Glo na one of the, ano yung side hustle mo, Tita Glo? Meron ako alam na side hustle na malaki kinikita ngayon eh. Ano yung side hustle mo?
Yung magturo ng English online kasi pwede siyang gawin anytime eh.
Oh,
Kasi
okay.
24 hours, oo.
Alright. Kasi 'di ba, I don't know if a lot of you guys know, 'di ba? I'm one of the partners sa nag-start ng Vice Cosmetics, 'di ba? Yung partner namin si Vice Ganda sa nagbebenta ng cosmetics, 'di ba? So
Oo.
this one I know for a fact. One of the biggest side hustles ngayon na nakikita namin is we work with TSPs, tawag ng TikTok service providers, 'di ba? And ang dami dito mga call center agents. Nagbebenta sila, live sellers sila online. And halos lahat pa doon, puro faceless sellers. Yung meaning hindi nila pinapakita yung mukha nila. Tapos nagbebenta sila ng produkto. Sobrang gandang side hustle. Kasi first of all, wala kang puhunan. Ang laki ng commission. Sometimes you get like 10 to 15% of your sale. So isipin mo, nagbebenta ka, nag-a-apply ka sa TikTok reseller. Galing. It's amazing. Ang dami ko nakikita mga call center agents na lumilipat, nagiging full-time TikTok sellers. As in, you won't believe yung how much yung kinikita nila on a monthly basis. It's crazy. 6 digits sila monthly. As in, multiple 6-digit monthly. It's like nagugulat talaga ako. It's like an underground economy na nabigla ako, na na-expose ako because of yung binibenta nga namin yung mga cosmetic products. It's ridiculous. So that's something that you can start with. Yung something na walang puhunan, na hindi malaki yung puhunan kailangan na side hustle.
Yeah, so usapang side hustle, no? So thank you for sharing that, Sir John. Actually, I just want to share also na when I was starting out, I had 20,000 lang to invest there, or 20 or 30,000. So iniisip ko, para ma 2x or 3x, parang ang hirap sa market eh. So I had to look for a side hustle also, so that I want to share. So yung side hustle na ginagawa ko noon is that I was waiting for on sale products sa Zalora or online, yung mga ganon. And then what I'll do is I'll check Facebook Marketplace if merong arbitrage opportunity.
Yeah.
Ibig sabihin na, for example, if nag-sale yung bag na to, kunyari from 1,000 naging 500 na lang, chine-check ko sa Facebook Marketplace magkano ba bentahan. Tapos makikita ko na, around 900, 1,000 pa rin. So I'll buy the products on sale. Tapos I'll sell it sa Facebook Marketplace. So I was actually able to 2x or 3x my capital during that time. Kasi yun yung palang reroll ko.
Yeah.
So yun, parang humanap lang din ako sa sideline during that time. So yep. All right. So moving on to our second mailbag. By the way, guys, sorry if we can't accommodate everyone's stories and woes, because syempre we have limited time, right? Pero moving on to our second mailbag. So let me read this for you guys kasi medyo mas maliit yung text. So according to our investor, I want to remain anonymous and hide under the name of Jake. So hi Jake. I have been with my girlfriend for 2 years already. So far, magkasundo talaga kami until lately napansin ko yung differences sa spending habits namin. Mahilig siya kumain sa mga upscaled restaurants. So ito yung mga mahaling restaurants. At napapadalas na ito. Habang ako naman, I'm trying to make an effort into saving and investing my salary. Mahilig din siya mag-ubos ng pera into buying clothes all of the time. Pera naman niya yung ginagamit niya. Pero ang worry ko lang is baka iba kami ng pananaw sa buhay. She chooses to live in the present by enjoying and spending a lot. Ako naman, mas pinipili ko ay security in the future. Recently lang mas naging evidence sa akin yung differences na ito. And I'm not sure if this is valid enough to part ways with her. So usapang love life tayo. So sino bang gusto mauna dito, guys?
Kuya
Can I
Jan!
take this? Kinectic this.
Expert!
The best si Kuya Jan
Ay.
Jan, expert
Yes.
ito.
Maraming experience. Oo.
Himay-himayin natin. I think mahal niya na itong tao na to kasi 2 years na to eh. And I think pero aware siya na I think yung utak niya nasa marriage na eh. Na doon siya papunta. And we know na pag sinabing marriage, pagpili sa yung magiging spouse, that's the biggest decision you could make. And dapat talaga you are as compatible as possible, lalo-lalo na sa financials. Kasi nga, if you are not compatible sa financials, ang daming magiging problema niyan. Magmula pa lang sa kasal, how do you manage your day-to-day life, anong gagawin niyo sa kids, so masyadong masalimuot ito. So I think doon siya nanggagaling kung hindi ako nagkakamali, no? And ang siguro ang inisip niya, is this enough reason to part ways? Pero siguro bago ko i-touch yung pag-part ways, mag-umpisa muna tayo sa umpisa. Umpisahan natin na mahal mo siya, di ba? Tama. So kung mahal mo siya, you would want the best for her regardless kung ano mangyayari sa future ninyo. Kasi kung ano yung mangyayari sa future ninyo, hindi nyo alam. Kung kayo magkakatuloy yan o hindi nyo alam yan eh, di ba? Maraming pwedeng mangyayari in the future. So mag-focus tayo sa mahal mo siya. And kung mahal mo siya, I feel no na you would want the best for her. So what's best for her is kailangan mo siyang turuan ng financial literacy. And masasabi ko kasi sa'yo kasi ako nanggaling ako dito na it's very very possible na ganito yung behavior niya. Hindi dahil ganyan siya talaga. It's just because may malaking possibility na hindi lang siya aware at lumaki siya sa ganitong klaseng environment and around people na hindi rin aware sa financial literacy. And ganoon din naman ako, hindi rin ako masyadong aware sa financial literacy. And may dalawang teacher lang tayo eh. Is either may tao na magtuturo sa atin or yung experience na magtuturo sa akin. In my case, experience na nagturo sa akin, which is mas masakit kasi I'm already in my mid-30s bago ako natuto ng financial literacy. So kung mahal mo yung girlfriend mo, what I would say is turuan mo siya ng financial literacy kasi it's very very possible na ganito siya dahil hindi siya aware. And you could start by asking questions lang, lalo na problems. You pose problems to her para maumpisahan mo yung discussion about financial literacy. Like, you give problems like, hanggang kailan ka mag-work? You know, anong plano mo pag wala ka ng work? Paano ka mabubuhay? Paano ka kakain? And things like that. And unti-unti yan, I think, mag-i-improve. And speaking of that, I also want to extend yung ganito, no? Kasi mahal mo sa buhay eh. So kailangan yung the best talaga yung wini-wish mo para sa kanila. And also you have to consider no na kahit na gaano ka maging financially literate at kahit gaano ka maging kagaling sa investing, sa business or whatever, mahihirapan ka mag-take off if hindi kayo same page ng people around you with people that you love. I feel mahihirapan ka talaga mag-take off kasi idadrag ka nila pailalim eh. Ganun yun eh. Kasi kung hindi kayo same page eh, mag-iiba, magtatalo kayo. Hindi sila susuporta sa'yo, magiging against you. So mahihirapan ka talaga. So I would extend this na hindi lang sa girlfriend mo. I would extend this sa lahat ng loved ones mo. Kailangan mo ituro ang financial literacy is your responsibility para din umangat ka. Kailangan mo turuan yung kapatid mo, parents mo kung hindi sila familiar dito. Kasi I will give you an example, no? Aangat ka nga kasi financially literate ka, magaling ka sa investing, magaling ka sa business. Pero kung yung kapatid mo ay hindi ganon at nagkaroon siya ng emergency, nagkasakit yung anak niya, alangan naman na tingnan mo lang siya. Titingnan mo lang na may sakit yung pamangkin mo, hindi ka tutulong. So ganun eh, tatamaan ka rin eh kung wala siyang emergency money ng sarili niya eh. So mahihirapan ka rin umangat eh kung yung people around you, people that you love, ay hindi financially literate. So ito yung magiging advice ko sa'yo, no? Start doing this. Start educating the people you love.
Sir John, before you answer anything,
Somebody else has ano.
oh
Pero
yeah,
ang ganda ng the question is sobrang ganda. Actually, when I saw the question, pinag-usapan ko lang to lately sa 14-year-old na anak ko eh. Perfect tong question sa mga matagal nang may asawa eh. Sa amin nila, Kuya John, Tita Glo, sa si Warren. Si Renz, kakakasal pa lang niya eh. So, actually, this is really perfect. Importante talaga sa marriage, may shared value. Right, guys? Di ba? Shared yung values. Kundi kasi ang hirap.
Yes.
Marriage is hard work eh. Tapos kung ano may financial problems, yan yung nagpapalala talaga ng you know, iba eh, mahirap talaga. Keeping a marriage afloat over yung parang a long period of time is hard. Tapos pag may financial problems pa. So pag hindi kayo wala kayong shared values, ang hirap. Yan yung sinabi ko sa 14-year-old kid ko kasi syempre ngayon nagsa-start na siya talagang nagde-date and all that. And sinabi ko nga sa kanya na important na mahanap niya yung person na first of all, sabi ko sa kanya bata pa siya. He has to explore. Explore. Secondly, sinabi ko sa kanya na kailangan yun nga it's not only yung shared values niya with that particular person but the shared values niya with the family of that particular person. Right? Kasi syempre
Yes.
iba yan eh, upbringing yan eh, hindi mo basta-basta matatanggal yan. Having said that, wala talagang mali pag may mga people talaga na mas gusto mag-enjoy ng buhay, may mga people na mas gusto maging financially responsible. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. Ang sinasabi ko lang sa isang marriage or isang relationship, long-term relationship, importante ang shared values kasi otherwise yan yung nagpapahirap talaga na mag-last. That's it for me.
Right. Actually, medyo kinakabahan ako bawat nagsalita kanina, Sir John eh. Your wife is watching here sa Zoom link right now.
Yan eh.
Hi, Miss Cathy. Shout out to you.
Meaning ko, typical.
Shout out. Yeah. Yeah,
Sir,
yung
hi,
ako
Miss
meron pala
Cathy.
akong ma-add kasi
Yes, go.
hindi love life yung akin. Tapos na ako sa love life. Pero syempre, ang ma-advise ko lang, syempre kung mahal niya yung girl, ano siya, mababaw na reason yan para hiwalayan mo siya. Kasi yung sa experience ko kasi, yung sa panganay na anak ko, parang ang nangyari kasi peer pressure. Kasi nung nag-aaral pa siya, nung college pa siya, sobrang tipid niya eh. Kasi di allowance siya. Tapos syempre yung mga classmates niya noon, puro estudyante, di lahat sila tipid na tipid. So nagtataka ako, ang dami niyang naiipon. So hindi halos gumagastos. Pero nung nag-start na siyang mag-work, parang nabaliktad. Kasi yung nga biglang naging magastos na siya. Mahilig din kumain sa mga mamahaling restaurants. Tapos
Revenge.
uso pa yung mga BTS noon, yung mga walang kwentang BTS items na mga worth 3 to 5,000 in order niya.
Baka magka-bashers
So,
ka, Tita Glo, ah.
yun. So, parang feeling ko may peer pressure. Halimbawa yung mga friends niya o mga kasama sa work, parang gustong, syempre, mga mahilig sa mga kumain sa labas, mahilig sa mga items na mamahalin. Parang ayaw niya magpahuli. Parang ganon. So, ang ginawa, kasi syempre ako nagtuturo ako ng financial literacy ko, tapos yung anak ko, puro gastos. Parang walang alam. So, ginawa ko, yung lead by example. So, kumbaga pinakita ko yung mga investments ko. Ito yung halimbawa, naglagay ako sa MP2, 2,000 monthly. Tapos after 5 years, ito na. Tapos yung nag-invest ako sa yung ETF sa S&P 500. Tapos yung nga pinapakita, sabi niyan, parang nagugulat siya. So tapos yun, nung nakita niya yun, parang na-inspire siya. So parang lead by example, walk the talk. So parang bigyan mo siya ng inspiration. So kung meron ka ng investment ngayon, ipakita mo kung magkano na yung gain mo, na ganito nakalaki yung nilaki ng pera mo. So parang mag-start ka small, plus habang tumatagal, makikita mo, ang laki na. So kumbaga parang nagugulat. So ma-inspire siya.
It's
So
addictive
baka,
po. It's addictive, yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
pwedeng
yeah.
mabago. So pwedeng mabago. So may chance pa. Kung wala na talaga, ibang usapan na yan.
Pag ayaw magbago, ginawa mo na
Ah,
lahat.
Oo,
Mahirap.
wala. Ibang usapan na yun.
Oo.
Pero actually,
Baka
Tita Glo,
wedding pa lang
Comment,
kasi
no?
ang budget mo 100K, siya 2 million eh.
Kaya nga eh.
Kanina comment kasi it's about love life, no?
Yeah.
Ang dami nating, I mean, to each his own, kasi syempre buhay mo rin yan. But at the same time, these are parang experiences coming from each of our own lives, you know. Uh, uh, in my experience, no, it's not all about, syempre love is important, but it's not all about love. There's also that choice na both of you can give you share values and yung practicality live the life together. No, hindi lang puro love, pero syempre use your head and syempre ano kakainin ng dalawa at yung pamilya niyo, di ba? So maybe it's a sign for you na this is an early sign na it's about time for you to talk. Di ba? Yung dun sa writer, it's about time for you to talk kung talaga bang pareho yung values nyo.
Yeah. Actually, I have a question for
You can see the diversity, no? It's not just about investments, but it's also about life coaching for the audience.
Yeah. So actually, I have a question for everyone. Kasi kanina nabanggit ni Tita Glo na inspire your partner by showing her your investments also. Pero ako kasi, I don't have a girlfriend yet. Pero natatakot ako na if ever I'm dating someone, I show her my portfolio. Kasi, alam mo yun, baka she finds out na I'm making this much already. Tapos baka he takes everything that I do for granted na. Like for example lang, I buy her a super nice dinner. And then baka isipin niya na, afford niya pala eh, di ba? Baka alam niyo yun. So, what are your thoughts about it? I just want to get everyone's advice.
Basta ako hindi ko pinapakita sa asawa ko. Wala siyang alam. So, hindi niya alam. Secret ko lang yun at yung anak ko. Kami lang nakakaalam.
Oh my God.
Dapat
show
meron
your-
kung ganun.
Don't show your
Maghanap ka
portfolio
ng
para sa akin.
kamatch mo. Oo. Maghanap ka ng kamatch mo para wala masyadong problema sa ganun. Kasi baka magkaroon ng inggitan, di ba?
Ay.
Ikaw, Sir Renz and Sir John, ano thoughts niyo?
Reds?
Yeah. Lolo. First of all, no, doon sa ano mo, wala ka pang girlfriend, no? Meron akong irereto sa'yo, okay lang ba?
Naging dating show bigla yung usapang merkado.
Oh my
no?
God.
Joke lang. Para sa akin kasi kami ng wife ko, nag-uusap talaga kami about finance. And lagi namin pinag-uusapan kung ano yung mga gagawin. And napaka-importante kasi na dapat para sa amin na yun nga, nag-uumpisa pa lamang kami magkaroon ng pamilya, di ba? So, lagi namin pinag-uusapan kung ano yung mga dapat bilhin at hindi dapat bilhin. So, good thing naman na yung aking wife ay talagang kung ano yung mindset ko, ganun din yung mindset niya. So, para sa akin talaga napaka-importante kapag pipili ka ng yung nga katulad sinabi ni Sir John ng isang partner, dapat yung talagang alam mo yun, yung parang nagkakaintindihan talaga kayo para less hassle sa pagpapaliwanag kasi nagkakaintindihan nga kayo. And also para sa akin, napaka-importante na to develop that kind of bonding, no? And also maganda rin na na may nabasa din akong book kasi medyo mahilig din ako na magbasa ng mga books. Yung kay David Bach, yung something book ni David Bach, napaka-importante din na mas maganda na yun nga, pinag-aaralan din namin na wag masyado mag-spend ng masyadong mataas. Mas maganda sa amin kasi nag-ano lang din kami kumakain lang kami sa mga simple lang para yun, hindi masakit sa bulsa, parang ganun. Pero hindi naman to the point na i-degrade namin yung aming aming kinakain. Parang ganun lang para sa amin. In short, napaka-importante ng nagkakaintindihan kayo.
Yeah. How about you, Sir John? Do you want anything else to add?
Ko,
Or Kuya John, yeah, go.
Ako ano, I'm against na ipakita mo yung portfolio mo kasi girlfriend mo pa lang siya. It's very, very
Mm.
personal. Your portfolio is very, very personal. So, wag
Mm.
mo ipapakita. There are so many ways na ma-expose mo siya dito sa, I mean, sa financial literacy. Like, ako, I like posting problems. Like for me, initially, ang problema ko kasi, di ba, nung nag-graduate ako, ano eh, masyado akong mayabang eh. Galing ako Lasal, and then Latin honors ako, comsci, ganyan. And then I went to the IT industry, maganda sweldo. So nag-umpisa ako na ang yabang-yabang ko, and I thought na ganun lagi, na lagi ako may work, and I thought na lagi maganda ang income. And then when I got married, I have I have I have 15,000 in my bank account. So sobrang nakakahiya, and I'm already in my 30s when I got married the first time. So sobrang nakakahiya. And then nung lumabas na yung anak ko, ang hirap. Ang hirap. So ang hirap, ganito pala kahirap 'to. And then dun na ako, yung experience na yung nagturo sa'yo, and then dun na nagkaroon ng turnaround na it's very, very important na maging humble ka. Kaya nga lang, yun lang, siyempre, yung experience na nagturo sa'yo, masyadong masakit pag experience na nagturo sa'yo, no? So maybe that's something na you can pose problems to her. Like ako ngayon, nagbibilang ako backwards. Ang binibilang ko ngayon, how many years na lang ang left before I retire. And so, ang iniisip ko ngayon, I don't have much time. So I really, really need to do my best in the present to prepare for my retirement. So yan po.
Yes, thank you, Kuya John. How about you, Sir John? You want to add anything else?
Wala na akong ma-add. Ang gaganda na ng mga sagot eh. I'm
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Alright. So, actually, may na-realize lang ako. Na-realize ko lang na tonight, baka may pinag-away ako mga mag-asawa. Lahat kayo, puro don't show your portfolio to your partner eh. So, so guys,
Let's
please,
wife mo na.
just
Let's wife
educational
mo
lang
na.
for the sake of education lang, and to each of his own views. So siguro that's it for our investing mailbag. So I'm sorry if we can't tackle them all, pero what we'll do is we'll tackle them next time. So if meron kayong questions, please feel free to put it sa ating chat box para we'll answer them for you. So let's move on to our question and answer portion. All right, so before we move on to that, I just want to share that our creator circle have each of them have their signature portfolios. Ano ibig sabihin nun? So all their investments, you guys can copy trade them, quote unquote. And so kunyari, idol nyo si Tita Glo, no? And Tita Glo's investing style resonates to your investing style. Gusto mo siya i-copy. So you can just go to our signature portfolio, go to Tita Glo's portfolio, and then buy whatever Tita Glo's recommendation here. Ito yung mga nasa under buy range criteria niya. Alright, so if ever, for example, idol nyo naman si Kuya John, Sir Renz, or Sir Warren, you could also do that. So, alright, so it's designed to help investors find great investment ideas and look for portfolio based on Dragonfly's investing club model portfolio. And it's based on teams also, or based on our creators circle strategy. So next slide, please. So now let's move on to our question and answer portion. So we're excited. So ano ba yung first question natin? Okay, meron nakadirect na sa'yo, Kuya John.
Kuya John.
Kuya John, CHP ownership and management will be changing hands. Is the company considered a dinosaur even with this fundamental change?
For me, yes. I've never liked CHP before. Still don't like it right now. Although Konsunhi kasi are very, very good people, pero I don't like the business, not the company, but the business itself. So I'm not a fan of CHP. And yeah, it's so hard to understand this business, you know. Ang dami nilang challenges, no, the past few years. So I'm really not a fan, and considering na ang daming alternatives that we could invest. So yeah, so yun po.
All right. So would you guys, any of you would like to add sa sinabi ni Kuya John? So
For me, I would suggest to wait it out. So wait out if the DMC would be able to turn it around because they have a lot of synergies with the construction company of DMC
Yes.
and yung mga DMC Homes, di ba? DMCI Construction. So if they were able to turn it around, who knows? Baka magbigay dito ng malalaking dividends tulad ng SCC and DMC, di ba? So but wait for that time to come. We won't know.
Yeah.
Right. So thanks for that, Sir Warren. So, would any of you guys like to add back? So going once, twice, all right. So next question tayo. So next question is magtutuloy-tuloy po kaya ang mga REITs next year? So I think this is addressed to anyone, so anyone could answer this question.
Uy, favorite ko yung reads. Siyempre, tuloy-tuloy yan.
Go, Tita Glo.
Go.
Yan, tuloy-tuloy yan. Kasi di ba yung REITs ang magbe-benefit sa interest yung rate cuts ng BSP sa interest rates. Kasi di ba nung hindi pa nagka-cut ng interest ang BSP, yung mga digital banks, ang tataas pa ng interest rates. And then yun nga biglang bumaba na nung bumaba. Kaya yung mga iba, syempre, tapos yung pag sa digital bank, may 20% tax pa sa withholding tax. So yung pinakamataas na dati, nagsi 7% na yung interest per annum. So ngayon parang 5% na lang. Kaya yung iba, naghahanap ng ibang option. So kumbaga yung REITs, since higher ang interest rate, ay higher ang dividends na binibigay ng mga REITs, tapos 10% yung tax. So syempre, yung maraming lilipat sa REITs. And yun, ang gaganda ng performance ng mga REIT. Siyempre, lalong-lalo na yung A-REIT, yung favorite REIT ko. At tapos, andyan pa yung RCR. Basta yung mga top 3 REITs. A-REIT, RCR, and C-REIT. Yeah. Positive pa rin ako dyan.
Right.
Ako
Thanks for that,
I
Tita Glo.
agree with I agree with Tita Glo kasi I think the probability of the interest rates sa Philippines to go up is very low and the probability of interest rates to go down is higher. It's just that we don't know kung gaano kabilis sila magbaba ng interest rate pero mukhang yun ang magiging direction nila and REIT is inverse siya sa price ng REIT kasi REIT are ang model na ginagamit ng karamihan ng tao to price REIT is same as how you value fixed income. So it's very similar on how they value. So this is very sensitive to interest rate. So if interest rate will continue to go down, which I believe has a very high probability, we just don't know the pace kung gaano kabilis bababa. But I think yung prices ng REIT is more likely to go up than to go down.
With the current price of A-rate now, do you still recommend to buy?
By below ko dyan, 36 eh. Kaya hindi
Yeah.
ako makapagdagdag ng A-REIT. Oo.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good point, Warren. Kailangan, obviously, we say talaga REITs are still good. And tama talaga si Tita Glo. Talagang, pag yung it's a rate cutting cycle, it's the REITs and yung mga dividend paying stocks that benefit when interest rates go down. Pero syempre, you shouldn't chase, right? Yun.
Yeah.
Perfect question.
I'm sure kasi the audience would want to know, is it time to buy or time to sell this particular REITs, no? So
Time to
kasi-
buy. RCR ang time to buy.
There you go.
Nasa buy
RCR.
below price. Yes.
How about your C-REIT?
Which one? C-REIT?
C-REIT.
I love C-REIT. Alam mo, I
Overvalued.
actually put out a message yung sa investing club na yung I think 2 weeks ago, yung binebentahan yung C-REIT kasi nagkaroon ng knee-jerk reaction, 'di ba? Si Donald Trump kasi he's anti-renewables. Pero so binentahan yung C-REIT, sabi ko, well, anti-renewable si Donald Trump pero in Philippines is pro-renewable. So it was a good time to buy more C-REIT at that point.
Kailan para overvalued na? Target
At
ko
this
dyan
point, kasi
below
balik na siya
3.
above 3 eh. Binentahan siya, umabot siya mga 280s eh.
Yun yung mga
binentahan siya.
target
That was the
price.
time. That's what, yung nag-release ako ng I said something sa Viber chat namin eh. Okay.
Take note din sa C-REIT hindi predictable ang dividends niya kasi Meron siya 'di ba yung bonus niya yung how they pay dividends is may dalawa, merong yung base pay and then meron yung kicker na if
Oo.
they earn this much then you get extra. But that extra will depend kung gaano kaganda ang pagbenta nila ng electricity sa market. Yeah. So there's some variable lang po doon.
Yeah, good point.
Yep.
Very good point. Aaron is back.
All right. So next question natin is, do we think that BPO business would be slapped with tariff because of Trump's America's First policy?
Anyone?
Yeah, so tingin ba natin kaya na yung mga businesses, BPO businesses, magkakaroon sila ng mga additional taxes dahil sa policy ni Trump? Parang political naman ang question na to, no? So, yeah, so does anyone want to answer this question?
Feeling ko it's not on his yung priority. It's not a priority for him. So I was reading yesterday yung Goldman Sachs report around yung mga trade policies ni Trump. And ang focus niya are those countries with large trade surpluses with the US. Kaya nga if you notice, 'di ba, I showed you guys yung kanina yung sa Goldman Sachs na yung Philippines nga nasa overweight, 'di ba? Because mas hindi tayo tatamaan ng tariff war ni Trump eh. That was yan yung rationale behind that. Pero for me, mas troubling pa rin sa BPO. I was just talking to a VC last week from Singapore, and they're very, very scared of our BPO sector on account nga of generative AI. I'm not sure if yung audience is familiar with one of the largest SaaS companies in the whole world, yung Salesforce.com. Si Mark Benioff, which is the CEO and founder of Salesforce, he was talking about Agent Force. Yung Agent Force is, you guessed it right na, it's yung Gen AI na call center agent. And they're already using it in the US. And that, for me, is the scarier part. Yan yung magiging first talagang low-hanging fruit of Gen AI, yung BPO centers natin.
Sobrang laki pa naman ng BPO
Yeah.
business natin dito sa Philippines right now.
Yeah, the Philippines has to pivot away from
Yeah.
this.
So would anyone else like to add? So going once, twice. Okay, so next question tayo. So thank you very much for this insightful webinar. I'm just curious, how does all of you guys find undervalued dividend stocks? Like how do you go through the market and all the stocks? Then which metrics do you primarily look at and use as the main criteria to include that stock in your watch list? Finally, how do you decide on your buy ranges? So thanks.
Siguro para sa akin, ako na yung unang sasagot dito din, no? So, dito, para sa akin kasi, pag sinabing criteria, isang criteria lang, para sa akin, yung intrinsic value ng kumpanya. No? Lagi kong sinasabi to sa channel ko, yung intrinsic value dapat makakuha mo natin ito. And I think, if I'm mistaken, si Kuya John and si Tita Glo, talagang nag-ano rin sila, meron din sila mga videos about intrinsic value. So you have to find it then. And para sa akin kasi, ang paghahanap kasi ng isang stocks, nakadepende yan sa'yo. No? Kasi para sa akin kasi pag-invest ay personal. So yung mga stocks na sa akin today, ay kaya ko itong sabihin kung bakit ko binili. All of that, kaya kong sabihin kung bakit ko siya binili. And minsan pa nga, may mga time na dumadalaw pa ako sa kanilang mga stores and branches para makita ko kung gaano sila ka-efficient, gaano ba sila ka-customer-oriented. And ulit, babalik ulit ako dun sa sinabi ko last usapang merkado na hindi ako mag-i-invest sa isang kumpanya kung hindi pasado doon sa criteria or values ko yung kumpanya na potential na paglalagakan ko. Especially, no, naghahanap din ako ng mga kumpanya na matataas then yung return on invested capital. So doon ako nagfo-focus and kung gaano ka-quality yung business and especially yung namumuno. Kasi kung yung namumuno ay puro focus lang ay mag-consume lang ng pera-pera, that's the values na wala ako, ayoko ng ganun. So gusto ko yung talagang yung namumuno talagang willing na i-grow yung business over time. Mayroong plano na palaguin yung business nila. Hindi yung plano na ito yung plano namin pero in the next coming 2 to 3 years hindi naman nagawa. Gusto ko yung na kahit paunti-unti nagagawa yung plano nila. Para sa akin, that's the golden investment na gusto kong mahanap sa bawat stocks na nire-research ko. Parang ganun.
Alright. Thank you for that, Sir Renz. So,
Mm.
would anyone else like to add sa sinabi ni Sir Renz? So,
Kasi sa akin medyo iba-iba kasi yung ko 'di ba dahil retired na ako. So more sa mga conservative companies ako nag-iinvest and priority ko yung mga defensive stocks. Kasi 'di ba pag halimbawa maski down yung Philippine economy, yung mga defensive stocks kailangan pa rin natin sila. So hindi sila maapektuhan. Kasi like yung nag-a-analyze ako ng mga stocks sa mga interested, meron akong ginawang video, yung ultimate guide about screening and analyzing a stock kung paano pumili. So ginawan ko ng video yon for free. Kasi noon, pinag-aralan ko yun sa Value Investing College nung nasa Singapore na binayaran ko. Pero sinishare ko lang lahat ng mga learnings ko sa aking YouTube for free. So even yung pag-calculate ng mga buy below range, mga ganon. So nandun lahat sa YouTube channel ko. So yun yung sinusunod ko. Pero yung priority ko nga, I prefer investing sa mga big cap companies, mga defensive stocks. And then meron din ako mga mid cap companies kasi more for conservative investors yung mga hinahanap ko. So medyo iba si Renz kasi bata pa si Renz, so iba yung yung investing goal niya sa investing ko. Basta ang
Yeah.
focus ko is investing, dividend investing strategy. And meron din siguro ako mga 2 to 3 na growth stocks, pero usually mga big cap companies pa rin, gaya ng BDO, SMPH, yung mga yon. So more on the safe. Kasi si Kuya Jen, alam ko, iba naman yung mga focus nito. Yung magkakaiba kami actually ng focus, kaming tatlo. So depende na lang sa'yo kung saan magsaswak yung investing strategy mo. Pero para malaman ko yung mga buy below price, kung ano yung mga criteria, naituro ko na lahat sa Value Investing College. Pero siyempre, just to summarize, yung earnings talaga. Kasi di ba sabi nga ni Peter Lynch, if there's one bit of a data that you need to follow the earnings. Kasi ang napansin ko pag kasi nagcha-chart din ako gamit yung Instagram. Pag halimbawa, napapansin ko pag bumababa yung earnings, bumababa yung share price. So yung share price talaga fina-follow niya yung earnings.
Yeah.
So
100%.
ayun.
Tito Glo,
And
you mentioned about defensive companies. Ano yung mga examples kaya na defensive
Ah.
companies na gusto mo?
Siyempre andan yung Globe, yung Meralco, PLDT. Tapos kasi nakita ko yung sa RFM kaya binili ko siya. Kasi yung nung nag-pandemic, hindi talaga naapektuhan yung RFM. Yung 2020, 2021 earnings revenue, tumaas pa rin. Unlike yung 7-Eleven, hindi siya pandemic proof. So na-affected siya. Tapos yung GSMI, yung Keeper, yung mga consumer, yung mga food and beverage, mga yon. Tapos dinagdag ko recently yung MWC kasi bumaba siya sa 25 pesos yata or 26 pesos. Although ang buy below price ko kasi based on my intrinsic value calculation, 23. Pero since di siya bumaba sa 23, pinatulan ko siya nung bumaba siya sa 25 and 26. So yun. Kasi yun yung hindi ko pa kasi naisasama sa aking portfolio na another defensive stock.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, Tita Glo, sabi mo tumatanda ka na. Di ako naniniwala sa'yo ha. For me,
Ay!
mukha ka lang 20 years old.
Ay!
Yan, oo nga.
Wow, salamat. Actually, nakakabata daw yung YouTube channel.
Pagpatuloy mo lang yan, Tita Glo.
Oo, kasi
Dahil-
naalala ko meron ako isang subscriber, sabi niya, "Ma'am, habang tumatagal daw na pinapanood niya ako sa YouTube, lalo daw akong bumabata." O, di ba?
Dahil dyan,
Thank
Aaron,
you.
nakakahanap ka na ng girlfriend.
Yes.
Yes. So, yeah, so do we have anything else to add here? So,
Ako more on screeners. Doon ako naghahanap. I find ideas. I try different metrics na I feel na would either yield something na either is cheap, which is very very simple like PE ratio and price to book, price to sales, yung mga ganyan. And it will yield some results. And then that will be a short list na I will read further yung annual reports nila. And also another thing na source ng ideas ay yung mga losers, sino yung mga losers for the past few months or the past year, and then you try, then those are the things na pwede mo i-consider to study kung how serious yung problem, and do you think na kung sino yung magre-recover. And yeah, and then I'm very very similar to Renz na I try to, kasi ngayon no, mas nagle-less na ako mag-invest sa turnaround stories, in the sense na may mga maling prediction ako, and I feel na talagang mas nag-gravitate na talaga ako sa sinasabi ni Charlie Munger na just invest in good companies na talagang they keep on growing na lang every year. And so parang doon ako nag-gravitate. So yeah, I tend to buy companies na maganda yung ROIC. Pero of course hindi enough na mataas yung ROIC mo, pero hindi naman alam gamitin ng management yung ROIC nila, and hindi naman sila nag-grow. So it's something na dapat mataas yung ROIC nila. Inherently maganda yung business nila, pero dapat yung management alam nilang gamitin, and talagang nag-grow nila yung business. So ganun lang naman. Pero yung metrics very very simple lang. I think many market participants just look at the PE ratio and the debt and things like that, and then they just try to balance this out somehow or another. I don't think many people in the market does these discounted cash flows and things like that. I think many people just use very very simple metric. Anyways, in lang po. Thank you.
Alright. So, thank you for that, Kuya John, no? So let's move on to our next question. Alright, so sabi, mga idol, sa panahon ba na ganito, masasabi ba natin na medyo much better mag-invest sa MF for diversification? So I guess MF stands for mutual fund, no?
Yeah, can I take this?
Yeah, ikaw na.
Yes,
Yes, go
please.
ahead.
I hate mutual fund.
Yes.
Oh,
With a
wag kang
vengeance.
ganyan. May mutual funds ako.
I hate
Sila
local.
ngayon,
Mag-ingat ka daw, Kuya
I hate
John.
local
Local
hindi po,
lang. Well, hindi ako
hindi po
nag-invest
international,
sa
just for the
local.
reason that they are charging 2 to 3%, and it doesn't make sense to me kasi ang mutual fund sa US is just 5 to 7 basis points, and sa Pilipinas is 2 to 3%. It's just too high for the thing that they're doing, and most of them are just following the index. Why should we pay 2 to 3% just to follow the index? It doesn't make sense to me. And 2 to 3%, mind you, if you compound it over 40 years, you're losing half. You're losing half. It's a lot. It's a lot. So no, I don't like mutual funds at all. Thank you.
I think mutual funds cater to the audience na wala masyadong time to track daily yung movement ng stock market, no?
Yeah.
So if you're a person who's really busy, I mean, with all your daily work, no? So you can invest in mutual funds, but again, knowing the fact na may commission yung broker or whoever is investing for you in the mutual funds. But I think if you have time and if you just want to mimic, let's say, the PSE index, you just allocate all your funds to the PSE index, and you have time to monitor it, then you will earn more, or syempre nabawasan na yung commission na binawasan nung broker, di ba? So you will earn more if you invest in direct stocks. But mutual funds is, I think, catered for those walang time. And also, if maybe you want to be safer, because mutual funds are managed by certified or trained fund managers. I assume, no, hopefully.
That's a long story, Sir Warren. Malaking discussion yung professionally managed, and it has been discussed so many times. Well, anyways, mahabang usapan yan. Pero
Yeah,
siguro ang masasabi ko
pero
sa
syempre,
mutual
hindi natin
fund,
alam in the background sino yung
Yeah, yeah.
nag-manage talaga, di ba? Pero
Yes.
I assume that the bank, let's say BDO, BPI, Metrobank, won't put their name on the line kung hindi fund manager talaga yung nag-handle.
Ang siguro yung masasabi ko dito a good compromise is FMETF kasi mas lower yung fees and you still get diversified and it tracks the index. Kasi you have to do it at the lowest cost possible. And also maybe another choice is maybe don't buy a local mutual fund that charge so high. Maybe find something else na mababa talaga yung fees. Something na basis points lang yung fees.
There
Then
are a
that
lot of
would be
different mutual funds, like sustainable funds, infrastructure funds, Catholic feeder funds. Di ba may mga ganun eh. So it
Yeah.
really depends on your personal choice as well.
Yeah, I think you need to study yung fees and saang
Mm.
market and yeah.
Yeah. Meron din akong ginawang video niyan. So, pinakita ko lahat ng mga fees. And, yun nga, yung pag mag-invest ka sa mutual funds, no point investing sa mga local funds kasi fund manager lang ang yayaman. Kung mag-invest ka sa mutual funds, yung global, and yung dividend paying funds, yung sa Manulife ng Dragonfly.
No.
Sulit na sulit, 'di ba? Parang 6% yung annual na interest, yung annualized na interest. Tapos monthly dividends. And actually ako nag-invest ako sa isang fund na hinayaan ko lang yung nag-start yung GInvest, yung Global Technology Feeder Fund. Nag-invest lang ako ng 4,000 pesos. Hinayaan ko lang yun. Tapos ang laki na ng pinabayaan ko lang. Nag 60% gain na siya in 4 years. So kumbaga, pag mga global funds, kumikita eh. Tsaka yung mga dividend paying funds. So, yun nga, beneficial ito lalo sa mga bagong mga newbies na nag-aaral pa lang kung paano mag-work ang stock, kung how the stock market works, and wala masyadong time. So, and yung actually yung mga ibang nag-iinvest sa stocks, yung iba kong subscribers na nag-iinvest sa stocks, nag-iinvest pa rin daw sila sa mga funds kasi they don't mind yung mga fees kasi may mga funds talaga na malaki rin yung returns. Kasi if you look at the funds na available sa Manulife, yung mga global funds, ang lalaki ng return, yung past 1 year return, di ba kuya din, parang may mga 30% or even higher. So kung i-less mo yung 2 to 3% na fee, mataas pa rin siya compared sa return ng PSE kung wala kang dividends. So yun.
Ako super ako nag-agree sa sinabi ni both Kuya John sa ni Tita Glo. Yung purpose namin for providing access to the funds is to provide choice. But there are some funds na okay talaga, like yung the money market fund ng Manulife. That one is really nice. Yan nga yung hinabol ko kasi the typical retail investor, us, we don't have access to yung mga BSP bills eh. Only mga trust companies can buy them. That's why na-offer nila yan at a very high rate. But sobrang 100% agree with Kuya John. Ang taas ng fees. Sometimes lang, the problem is, that's the only way to give them access to, like yung sinasabi ni Tita Glo about yung mga global tech, yung mga funds na ganun, kasi wala eh. There's no other way to access it. A lot of you guys know this, the creators here, sa si Warren. My intention is talaga to offer US access to the US markets by next year, and we've been working hard at it. And ang hope ko doon is a lot of those ETFs, yan yung sinasabi ni Kuya John, ang bababa ng expense ratio nila eh. And I would rather invest yung let's say in a foreign stock market, like example, instead of investing in a global tech fund, I rather invest directly, di ba, in a Vanguard technology yung ETF, or in Vanguard yung VU in the S&P 500 na yung expense ratio is like 7 basis points. So I would rather do that.
Oh, yung QQQ, ang baba ng expense ratio.
Yeah, actually when I met with the SEC, I mentioned this. Exactly. Sabi ko, you guys are it's actually shortchanging the Filipino investors by not allowing access to the US market. You're giving them access via funds, but the funds are taking 1.5% to 2%.
Hanggang 3%.
Ang taas. Tapos actually, diba, usually it's a feeder fund. The fund that yung target fund niya is also charging another 1.5%.
Doble-doble.
So you're talking about
Patong-patong.
3-4% na right there and then. Kaya nga if you look at yung mga nila, yung mga performance nila, sobrang nag-underperform sila versus their benchmark, right? So ako, I 100% agree. Rather than buying a mutual fund, I'll parang do-it-yourself investor ako eh. I rather build my own portfolio.
Yeah.
Kasi it's cheaper in terms of fees. Tapos,
Yep.
you know, talagang talagang you have options pa, diba? Tapos,
Mm.
I don't know if a lot of yung parang I actually wrote an article about this before. The problem pa with mga funds, usually they also nagkakaroon ng over-diversification eh. Like yung sinasabi ko palagi, the price of over-diversification na beyond your 19th stock, you're no longer paid to diversify. So
Correct.
sometimes pag sobrang overly diversified yung fund, talo ka na nga sa fees, nag-over-diversify ka pa, so you don't get much of the alpha, yung alpha generation yung sinasabi nilang excess returns na sinasabi nila. That's it for me.
Right. Thanks, Sir John. So, moving on to our last question. So, given that there's not much time left now, so I'll cut it to the last question. So, last question is, hello all. Quick question to Sir John Carlo. My current portfolio is 70% crypto and 30% stocks. Any chance we'll see crypto on the Dragonfly platform anytime soon?
Yes, yan talaga. Those are the two things that for next year we will be adding, crypto and US markets. Yan talaga. I've been really fighting for, especially the US market part, because yung SEC has been so resistant to allowing it. But I really believe na the Filipino investors would benefit from having access to the US markets. Iba, it's really it's about giving choice, diba? As I keep on mentioning, the PSE, I believe, is stronger than the US market in terms of dividend investing, but the US market is stronger than the Philippines in terms of growth investing in disruptive technology. So, parang if you can diversify into different asset classes, mas it stabilizes yung long-term return profile ng portfolio mo.
All right. So, thank you for that, Sir John. So, yes, so I would like to thank everyone for attending our Usapang Mercado today. So thank you for everyone for your time, for joining us. We're really happy that you guys are here with us today. And secondly, I want to thank our Creator Circle and Sir John also for accommodating us today. I learned a lot. I hope you guys learned a lot also. And we're entertained by our banters also. So yeah, so see you guys on our next Usapang Mercado.
It's gonna be
And
live.
yes.
The next one is gonna be
Yeah,
live.
live.
Yun.
Na-book na namin.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be live.
Yes.
You
Paano
guys-
si Investing PH? Nakamaskra. Paano siya magla-live? May ganun eh.
I hope Mike you're watching. Yan.
Yeah.
Tanong na ni
Oh,
Somebody
maskra
blow.
ba?
Paano ka? Thanks again,
Ayan.
everyone. Really appreciate your time. Tita Glo, Kuya John, Renz,
Yeah.
Warren. Appreciate you guys
Aha.
spending the time. And
Aha.
talagang goal talaga natin is to really educate the investing public.
Yes. Oh, basta
It's
dapat
also
may
good.
Christmas party tayo
Yes.
Sir John, happy birthday
Yes.
ulit.
Happy
Oh my God.
birthday, Sir
Birthday, Sir John.
John. Happy birthday.
Baka
Tagal na,
naman.
tapos na. Lumipas na.
Belated.
Baka naman.
Belated. Baka naman.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Take care,
everyone.
everyone.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Until next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.